All right, we're back now. So let's see. Let's come up with the mental process. So first of all, we'll have to keep track of if it is let's say 10, 20. What is our elements there? 10, 20, 35, 40. If these were the elements of the array, let's say I might, whatever we want to call it, it's called my array or A or anything. Okay, if that's the content of A, array A, then as I'm traversing, I need to keep track of elements that I have traversed. So if I say sin structure, I say sin numbers num is equal to some, we're going to use the hash map. So some sort of hash map. This is my hash map. It's empty. Okay, and then let's say I traverse the first one. Let's say 10, and then I need to have a logic. Okay, since I am interested in the index, this is 0, this is 1, 2, 3, so that's those are the indices of these numbers. So when I find the right numbers, I need to return the indices. So in this case, I have to return 0 and 1. That means I have to track both numbers and then their indices. If in the hash map, maybe I can store the indices because that's what I need to return as I'm traversing the number. But I also need to make sure that I didn't actually lose the relationship between the number and the indices. So now if we start doing the traversal, let's say I'm seeing the first number, I'm seeing the number. Now I need to have a logic. What do I do with this number? When I see the first number, right? There is no another number. So maybe I just store it in the sin number, right? So somewhere I need to store it. So maybe sin num. I'll have to store. I'll have to have the right syntax first in the programming language, but I'll have to store this number. Okay, and so maybe some excuse me, some stuff from programming language here, some stuff from programming language here. Okay, so and then how we proceed is when I go to the second number, I need to do something. That is, how do I know that the number that I have seen is or is not a matching pair? So in this matching pair would be when these two numbers added, they sum up to the target. Okay, so how do I know that? I can know that by subtracting from the target. If I subtract my target, my current number, this is current number, CUR, current number, from the target, and I get the other number, right? Other number, right? So I get the other number from subtracting current number from the target number, and then I can see whether this other number is actually here or not. If it is there, because I know how to get it back, because programming language, they provide a way to get it back into the value, and I'll be storing the index there, right? So in that case, if this satisfies, these two are the pairs. And for this problem, whenever we find the first pair, we'll just return the indices. Okay, even though there could be more matches in this particular array, there are not, but there could be, in the interview, we might be given large set of arrays where there will be a lot of valid pairs, and then for this particular problem, we are only interested with the first. As soon as we come up with the first pair of numbers that sum up to a particular target, we just come out of it. Okay, so now how do we write in terms of, let's say, some programming language, right? We store scene number is equal to current number. You can say current number, that'll be index. Okay, that'll be index, right? Yeah, and then we'll be doing some sort of comparison. If this thing is not satisfied, we'll be storing as a sin. If this thing is satisfied, that means we found a match. We'll just come out with a we'll have to construct the array of indices. There'll be the index of current number and index of the other number, and then return indices. Okay, and if it is not matching, then we store the current number in the list of the scene numbers, right? Okay, now let's write the program in, let's say, one of the programming languages. We'll pick Python because it's kind of very handy. It's a scripting language. The code will be much shorter than let's say Java or C or this kind of other high-level programming languages. So I'll just use it. Also, Python, you can use it from terminals if you're using Linux type of operating systems. Well, these days when Windows might provide some terminal using simulators, but anyway, now we'll write a program based on that logic. We'll try to write program in Python. Let's write the function here. We'll write div. Okay, here is the function div. I'm going to call it. Now we have to be accurate. We have to be formal. Programming language, using programming language. I'm just calling it toSham function, the Python function, and then I need to pass my number list. Okay, which is, let's call it nums, and then I also pass the target. Okay, and then two dot in Python. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about Python syntax here, so I assume that programming languages. We're just taking help of this programming language to realize what we just discussed earlier. So I need to create the empty structure to store the scene number. So I'm just going to call it scene dictionary. So Python dictionary is a hash map. Okay. I need a type or anything like that in Python, so that's easy things. And now my other number is, how do I compute that? Oh, actually I need to iterate. I need to iterate through those numbers because I need to do this every time, right? So for that, Python also has something called for structure. So for, I'll have two variables here. Okay, I and k. One is the loop iteration. It gives us the value of the the loop iteration. Like if it's the first iteration, is 0, if the second 1, and so on. The second gives the number in that iteration. Okay, for ik in and ik in nums, but if I just write ik in nums, it will not work. I need to have something called enumerate nums. Okay, that means we are kind of iterating through the array, and every time we are iterating, we'll be getting a pair One is the number itself, another is, you can say, index, because it starts with 0. The 0th iteration, actually it's the first iteration, but it's kind of represented with 0. We get the first element, second iteration, I get the second element, right? So this can be treated, the loop control variable can be treated as the index of the number in the current iteration. So I said loop control variable, but here in Python it's actually counterintuitive. It is not controlling the loop, but if you say, let's say in programming language like C, probably it will be controlling. Java also will be like loop control, but here it is something that's given to us, but even if we change its value, it will not make the difference here, because this thing does not have I in it. Okay, so, and it will not be kind of, for structure doesn't have I anywhere else other than this place, which is basically the more like a outputting kind of thing here. Okay, but we still can have the same sort of mindset that this is very closely tied with iteration here in this structure, the nums, right? Okay, so now now I need to create the other number, right? Other number, because I always assume I need that 10, 20. Let's see if it's feasible here. 10, 20, 35, 40. I need that. Okay, I need this thing. Okay, other number is equal to target minus this will be k. Okay, this pair will be the k. Okay, that's how I get the other number. So I assume that in every iteration, okay, I get the other number of the pair, okay, that we are interested in. So now I need to check if other number in SIN dictionary, that means we found both the numbers. Dictionary, I can just come out because that's exactly what I found, right? This, whichever two numbers satisfy this equation, that's the right pair. That's the pair that we're interested in. We're checking that. Is it in the SIN dictionary? If it's in the SIN dictionary, that means it came out earlier, right? So we can just emit this thing. Return, and we're going to, in Python we just can create an array like this. Return 1 is going to be I, because that's the index of the current number. Now we need to get the index of another number, which is basically can be achieved or can be retrieved by SIN dictionary and other number. If we supply value to the dictionary, it will give us the index. Okay, so yeah, and then we have I here, right? That's all we need to return. If that's not the case, what do we do? We'll be adding, if that's not the case, we'll be adding the current number, which is this other number, in the dictionary actually. So how we do that is that is author number, sin dictionary, and k is equal to I. So interesting thing here is we're not assigning this value. Let's see, looks like it's not visible here. Probably I should write it over here. The else structure actually looks like this here. Sin dictionary k is equal to I. That's what it looks like. So this is not the assignment of I, which is a loop control variable, or the index to this variable. The Python operates a little bit differently. If we say sin dictionary k and this k doesn't exist there, it will actually insert this k also, okay, and then it will associate this I with that k, with that value. Okay, so it should be stored as more like a key value pair, right? So yeah, that's the shortcut we have in Python. So we have this thing ready. So how does, now let's quickly go through the entire structure. So this is basically function definition. We create an empty structure, the as map, and then we iterate through the numbers passed. That's the array. Okay, so for every element we check whether, for every current element, which is basically k, we check whether there is element in our dictionary that matches or that satisfies this condition. That is, basically we are checking whether we have the other member of the pair in the dictionary. So how do you do that? If the number is in dictionary, then basically we get the index, pass the value, and we get, or pass the key. However you want to interpret it, then we're treating this thing. You can say that you're treating this thing as a key here, and then index as the value. So we supply the key, because the number here can be if you have repeated number, probably that would mean something same. So that's why maybe we can treat this one. We don't have to store, if there are two 20s, we don't have to really store two 20s. So I think that's why maybe it makes sense to treat the key, the number itself as a key, and then index as a value. So this gives the index of the other number, and this gives the index of the current number, because currently we are iterating. And if that's not the case, if it's not a match, then we keep storing the visitor number in the dictionary, because in the future we might be able to find a match, right? So that basically is a core function. Remember, is toSum. Okay, now we can just call it. Okay, we can call this one. So how do we call it? In Python we write a main def main, okay, and then we say my num is equal to, I can say 10, 20, 35, 40, Okay, and then my target is equal to 40, and my result is equal to I call that toSum function. Call that toSum, and then I pass my number, the array, and my target. Right? I get the result, and then I print result. That's it. And then there is another. This is the main function, and there is a way to call it actually. Okay. I'm going to erase this now and actually write a function to call it. Okay. So if I call it, if there is something like this, if name underscore is equal to name underscore, then we call main, and the main calls toSum, right? So that's how. So basically, all these fragments, if you can put them together in a file, that is one complete Python program, and the complete code is actually already available in YouTube channel, so you can take a look. So if you want to go through all of these things, so we have a toSum function, toSum main, and we have something initialization, right? So this calls this one, this calls that one, right? So how it's working is basically in the iteration in our program, just iterate through left to right. In the first iteration, it will store the index, right? Because basically it will store both, 10 and association. Let's write it this way actually, even though I will be writing just 0, but it will actually let me do this way. Okay, you can say 10 0 is source. Obviously it will not have an arrow or this kind of thing, but it will maintain a kind of relationship here. Okay, in the first iteration, because the relationship target minus k is equal to other num. This, and then we have the if structure there. It doesn't satisfy this. If other nums in dictionary, because in dictionary in the first iteration will be empty, right? And now in the second iteration, it will put 20 here, and then my other number value will be 10. Okay, this other number, and we have structure like if other number in that dictionary, whether other number is there or not, other number is actually is there in the dictionary. If it's in dictionary, then what do? We know that we found it, and if we found it, we construct the array of indices, and then we return that. Okay, so that's how it's working. So this problem, that's the sort of mental process. Now this problem could be modified in many different ways. The interviewer could say, well, I have a bunch of pairs here, right? I have a bunch of pairs here, like I have 5, 15, 25, 10, so on. I have a bunch of pair here. Now, Okay, let me write that again. 10, 20, 35, 5, 15, 25, 10, and so on. Okay, and then the interviewer might say, well, not only give me this past combination, also give me other combination, right? This could be another combination, and there could be a lot of combinations. So interviewer might say that. If that's the case, then we should be able to modify that during the interview process. So if we reached up to finding the first one, and then finding the solution for, let's say, this modified problem, the other pairs probably won't be difficult, because if you look at our solution, obviously it's not written here now, then what we are doing is, as soon as we found the first matching pair, we are doing some sort of return there, right? That means we are coming out of, returning the value and also coming out of the program, coming out of the function, coming out of the toSum function, and then it returns the main function, which comes out once it is when it does the printing work, right? So instead of returning, if you want to find another pair, we should let the program to continue, right? Continue, and then instead of returning, we just need to have a hash map, and we just need to store the indices, right? Instead of returning, we just store that whatever we are creating, that this structure, we just store, we just assign that tuple. We can create a tuple and just assign that. Next time it comes find a match, again add the element that tuple, and you could actually have a list of tuple, list of tuple, and then eventually you can return that list of tuple, right? So that's how modified problem can also be solved. So that's all for this problems mental process. Hopefully it helps to get a little bit better perspective on how to kind of approach the problem. Next time we will look into the problem that's actually already in YouTube, which is our second problem. Okay, that's like it has a series like 2A, 2B, 2C, the programming, the coding, which is already available in the YouTube channel. We'll do the mental process for the programs that we have already published. Okay, and at some point probably we'll for the new problems, we will just write first do the mental process, and then we'll write the programs. So obviously when you're watching, probably you could watch the mental process first, and then you could watch the programs. I think that's pretty much the same thing, whether it doesn't really matter in which order I uploaded the videos. I think it really matters in which order you watch the videos. So okay, so this much for today. I will see you next time.